That's another way to have a film fail, is not being able to answer what your protagonist really wants badly in that story.
If it's true that there are 1,000 ways to die in the Amazon, metaphorically, are there 1,000 ways a film career can die, or that your film can die, metaphorically?
Yeah, metaphorically, yes. It's good. Having worked in the Amazon, I definitely have mentioned the idea that there are 1,000 ways any of us could die in the Amazon. You just walk away from the river 100 yards, and then you can become lost, and then you'll never be seen again. So, and then the creatures will come for you. But for a filmmaker, someone said, making films is like parachuting. If the parachute doesn't open, you're going to die. It's almost like if you film the big effort that you've done to create a movie, if it doesn't work, you can die. You know, it's theoretically that's possible, but that's why you always want to have not throw everything into any one film. It's just such a dangerous thing to be able to put all of your money and resources or your mortgage into a film. It's not a good idea at all. I did that once. I have lost a home due to investing too much in a movie. And it's been a big lesson, you know. It wasn't the only reason why I lost the home, but it was a second mortgage situation. You take out too much money if you don't have any other investors involved. It is too high of a risk, too high of a price to pay. So I do think there are, 100 ways to kind of go away or die as a filmmaker, I suppose. It's that combination of elements, as I mentioned before. You have to have, I think, the innate skills and talents to do a movie. That's one of the things that's kind of missing a bit today, is some of the craft is gone in filmmaking for a lot of young people. Not to criticize anyone, but the gear has become so good and so high resolution and so many auto features in the equipment that you can take an iPhone 14 or 15 and go out and you can literally make a movie with an iPhone of that kind of quality, because it's 6K quality, 8K quality. It's not so much now the gear that is a test of a good filmmaker, because I think anyone can get the gear together between themselves and their friends, a small investment of a couple $1,000, $3,000, something like that. You can get the basic gear to make a movie. So there's never a reason to fail because of the equipment anymore. When I was first starting out, it would take at least $50,000, $60,000 of cash to buy the equipment to get started, you see. And then the film itself would be so much money per second. I used to count the seconds when I was shooting film, because I knew every second would equal a certain amount of money. And you'd shoot 10 seconds, you go, oh God, that's probably $20 right there I just shot. So there's like a taxi meter running when I used to shoot film. That is just not the case anymore. So you can shoot hours and hours of media, digital media, and that's not a problem whatsoever. Just keep your batteries charged and keep shooting. So it's never the gear. There are plenty of other ways to fail or to die as a filmmaker. The other one is one is if you just don't have a very compelling story to tell. And for me, with the travels I've done around the world over all these decades, there's so many dozens of stories I'd love to tell in these different countries. So it's not a lack for me of good stories I think I could tell. It really comes down to financing these different stories now and getting the proper financial backing to be able to do the movies I want to do. But for someone who's younger and hasn't had a lot of great life experiences, that's another way that a film can fail, is it's just the story just isn't compelling or interesting or kind of original enough to tell, because again, you're asking that question, who wants to see my movie besides your mom and your dad and your family and friends? They would watch it, but you got to think in terms of the general public. Why would they want to watch your story? And you have to ask those tough questions, and sometimes You can't answer those. Some filmmakers can't answer. They don't even know what the character wants necessarily, the hero. And that's another way to have a film fail, is not being able to answer what your protagonist really wants badly in that story. If they're just a mumblecore film, people chatting about their lives or their jealousies of a lover from a friend or something like that, it just isn't enough, I don't think, to tell a good story. Always dig in deeper as a filmmaker, a younger one, to find out who around you has a very compelling story. It doesn't necessarily have to be your own. You can adapt it from somebody else's story, but just make it something that you can tell people rather quickly what the story is and capture their attention where they want to know more. If you see them nodding off or getting diverted or checking their phones or something, you know you've lost it. You can never make a movie based on something where you've lost that person within 10 seconds of telling your story. They're already looking at their social media or something. So that's another way you could fail as a filmmaker, not having the right story.
Sure. I mean, in this day and age, so many people I see, adults, have a hard time staying off their phones at the theater, which is, it's kind of its own sickness.
Isn't that something?
Especially when you're paying so much for a ticket and it's such an amazing experience. Why ruin it by checking social media? But even with gadgets today, I think you've mentioned before that sound is sometimes an issue. So it can look cinematic, but sound is so crucial. And
yes, thanks for mentioning that. So let's just say you have a film that you're really proud of, and you just did it for $1,000 and with your friends, and you put it together, and you think it's a wonderful film. Then you show it to a distributor, and one of the things where you can fail right away is they'll see immediately if the visual is strong enough. Obviously, if your camera skills are good enough. The second one, and maybe even more important, is audio quality. Often people just don't have the right microphones when they're doing a film or a movie. They just don't get the microphones tight enough to the source of the sound, to the voice. And so you have to use just a really good boom mic, have a boom operator working that, or if you're using lav mics, you have to have those concealed properly, or just something. The microphones have to be close enough to your speakers, otherwise a distributor is going to say, forget that. I don't care how good your story is or how good your camera work is. Maybe your actors are even very good. If that sound isn't there, it's going to exclude you from the club of being distributed effectively. So that's critical. Again, the story has to be good. The acting has to at least be competent, if not exceptional. The camera work obviously should be excellent, very good to excellent. And then the sound, of course, has to be top-notch. And boy, there's quality controls on every platform. Any good streaming platform will have a QC control, and that'll get kicked back in your face if the audio quality is not good enough. They won't accept it. And certainly distributors won't either. So it's another way to be very, very careful in your production. Don't skimp out don't cut your budget too tight to not get proper audio. Get a good sound mixer with you on the set.